I felt untethered, knowing you're supposed to be somewhere, but not knowing how you fit there yet. In 2018, my husband and I were really feeling like we were not where we were supposed to be. And in prayer, we just kept getting the answer that we needed to sell our house. I really struggled in the beginning with the move because I knew in my core it was where we were supposed to be, but I had 2 little kids and a stay-at-home mom, and I just didn't know where I was supposed to be. So in all that chaos of moving and setting up a house and feeling like I wasn't anywhere, I tried to have the kids outside in the front yard pretty regularly because I thought, well, maybe I'll meet somebody. And luckily I did. Jenny came over and found out she lived a couple houses down, and she invited me to gather. She said, there's this mom's group, and I was like, yes. Like, oh, finally something to dip my toe in and try to meet people. I talked myself out of going to the next one. And I told my husband, don't let me back out. And as much as I'm needing mom friends, I also don't want to do the meeting mom friends. And so in December, I stuck to it and I went, and Jenny is so hospitable. And then everybody I met was so friendly and nice, and it was a good environment to walk into, especially feeling pretty alone. I'm not gonna lie, it was awkward in that, like, I don't know anybody and I'm walking into a stranger's house. And that was a hard push to make myself do, but it was so worth it because I got to enjoy an evening with other adults and I met some people that I really felt drawn to and felt this is the start. This is where I find where I'm supposed to be.
Megan's story may seem a lot like yours. Maybe you feel like she described untethered. You're not really sure where you fit in. You hear moms talk about they have their mom tribe, and you're like, I don't really have a tribe. I don't really know what to do about that. And a lot of times as moms, we find ourselves missing out on that community that we really believe that God has for us. It may be that you just moved here from out of state. Maybe you left all of your friends and your family and you just moved here. Maybe it's that you're entering a new season and you had a lot of mom friends when your kids were in school, but now they're moving out of the house and those mom friends are all shuffled up in different directions now, and you don't really know what that looks like in finding mom friends in that next stage of life. Maybe it's that you've pulled away from your mom friends for a season that's been hard, maybe due to sickness or having a newborn and you can't get out of the house much because they won't cry, they stop crying when you leave. Maybe it's that you had marriage issues and you just kind of withdrew from everybody. But whatever the reason is, a lot of us find ourselves wanting that community and really seeking that out. My name is Jenny Worsham, and I'm the director of Gather in Your Neighborhood. And so many of you have had the experience of coming to a Gather group that meets in a neighborhood near you. So over the last 4 years since I started having a Gather group in my home, we've been able to see gathers start all over the place, and we've had over 80 groups launch. We have some even in other states and across the ocean, and so it's just been really cool to see that moms really need community, and that's what Gather is all about. Just like Rebecca said, we need each other. And so the goal for Gather when we meet together is not to be burdened with one more thing that we have to do or one more commitment on our calendar, because we want our time together to be real intentional. We really want our time to be something that's different than the other mom groups you can go to. There's lots of mom play groups. You can go to the park and meet people. You can have even women's Bible studies. Those are all great different things. You can have a bunco group, but all of those things are different from what Gather offers, because we really want this to be an intentional time for you to grow as a mom. And so what Gather looks like is just meeting once a month for 1 hour. And it's not a big time commitment, but we want you to leave from that 1 hour with one thing that you want to go home and do better in your home and your family that month. Not a whole list of all the things you feel awful about when you leave because this mom's doing that and this mom's doing that, but that you just say, hey, there's one thing that I learned tonight that I want to go home and put into practice in my family. And then the next month, that there's something else that you've done. And that by the end of the year, you can say, you know what? I feel like we have set some traditions in our home. We've set some family values in our home. I have worked on things personally as a mom. And I can really see that God is doing something in our family. And the years aren't just flying by one after another. And you don't really feel like you've had any time to be intentional with your kids. And so that's the goal of Gather, is to have intentional time together as moms to encourage each other, to laugh together. We have fun at our Gather groups, and just to inspire each other to be better moms. So about this time last year, I was really praying about what was next for Gather. We had launched a bunch of groups, mainly through our event here last year, and word had started to spread other places, and God kept confirming in my heart that we were just supposed to do the next right thing, that whatever God told us to do, just take it one step at a time. And I made it very clear that there are a lot of moms in our community that spoke Spanish, and all of our translation, all of our things were in English, and all of our curriculum. And so we worked really hard this year to put our curriculum into Spanish. So y'all give a round of applause to those ladies that helped with that. And so I'm thrilled to announce that we have 2 Spanish groups that launched this year, and we have our first year of curriculum translated into Spanish, so that those groups have been meeting. So one of the groups, I wanted to read y'all a quote that they said. During this last year, they said that they're having undertaken this beautiful adventure together has filled our lives with blessings and the lives of the moms who have accompanied us during this year. A year of complete sisterhood, to have with whom to share sorrows, joys, disappointments, hope, to learn to work as a team, and to remember that God has control of our lives. And I just think that's such a beautiful picture of what Gather should be, that you really should be walking that with each other, taking meals to each other, checking on each other, being your community for each other. And our second Gather group is led by Pamela Westrup, and she said that Gather has given us a chance to create a safe place for us moms to love on one another, to laugh, cry, eat, chat, share ideas and concerns, and above all, encourage one another, knowing that we are not alone in this journey. We don't have to be perfect. We can come as we are. And that is the heart of Gather, just like Rebecca said, that there is no perfect home to come into when you open your door. There's no perfect kids that you've probably had a rough day. There's nothing perfect about being a mom, and that's not the goal of Gather, is to compare each other or feel guilty about the way that you're parenting. But the heart of it is to come together in an ongoing, intentional community together. So as we've seen Gather grow, God has taken it to see that moms all over the world really struggle with the same things as we do. And so it's been really sweet. God's let us see sweet Biola in Nigeria. I think we have a picture of her. So there she is on the left in the pretty black dress. And one of our Gather leaders here knew her and shared with her about Gather, and so she has had a group now for over a year in Nigeria meeting, and I wanted to share with you a little bit about how it has encouraged the moms there in Nigeria. She says, it's been a wonderful experience. One cool thing is because it's not a Bible study, so we can connect people from different beliefs, and it actually becomes an avenue to be that light and aroma to those who are searching. We have quite a bit of Muslims and a few Hindus and atheists. I've had so much encouraging feedback. This is so unique for our society, where so many families are culturally expected to put up a perfect front. An especially sweet testimony of community is one mom whose child has sickle cell posted on the group a request for blood donations, and 2 of the other moms went to donate. That really moved me. Also, a few ladies from the Gather group started a nonprofit after we did the last topic on giving. I'm excited to see how we can plug in and maybe get our kids involved in giving back to the community. I'm truly thankful for what God has done through Gather. And when I sent her our second year of curriculum, which is our Mom Struggle curriculum, I sent it with a little note, and I said, now this may not apply to the moms in Nigeria, the things that we struggle with in America, but just adjust it how you need to. And she messaged me right back and was like, oh my goodness, all of this applies. And I was like, okay, we are really all one as moms. So we all struggle with the same things. And even around the world, moms need community. And that's the heart of what we're doing here. So tonight, we have some exciting news to share. Kind of the next phase of what Gather has offered is that we have had a lot of moms come to us and say, well, that's great. Gather seems to be for moms with kids in their homes as you're teaching them family values and all the struggles with that. But what about us? We are still moms, but our kids have left the house. I've learned that the term empty nester is rude and makes them really sad. So I'm not there yet, but I can totally see that you don't want an empty nest, okay? So don't use that word. I learned that very quickly. Launching is the correct word to use, okay? So don't say like, oh, I'm so sorry you're an empty nester. Say, are you having a hard time launching? So that's a better thing to say. So for those moms that have launched their children, maybe they are still parenting their adult children, which we know can happen. Maybe you have a 40-year-old still living with you, okay? Or, Debbie, yes. Or you are grandparenting, and I know many of you are grandparenting and parenting at the same time because maybe the parent isn't in the picture or is not being a parent or whatever the situation is. So everybody has a different situation, but we wanted to provide something for moms in that next season. So we're calling it Gather 2.0. Okay. So tonight is our first time that we are going to be launching that. So we are going to have a group meeting tonight during intermission right out that back exit door for moms not with children in your home currently, okay? So anyone in that season, we want to start the talks of writing that curriculum and getting y'all meeting and all of that fun stuff. So one real quick thing I wanted to remind you is that as we meet in community through Gather, we really find that all of what we do is based on the Bible, even though it's meant to be something that any mom from any faith background would feel comfortable being a part of. You know, in the Bible, it tells us, in even the beginning in Genesis, that God said man should not be alone. And that was a response to, making Eve, of course. But I really believe that that also is in response to us just doing life, that we should not be alone, that God wants us in community. You think of Ruth and Naomi and how she followed her back to her homeland, to Elizabeth and her cousin Mary, the mother of Jesus, and how they did life together. And I think in our communities, a lot of times we tend to seclude ourselves and close our garage door and not reach out to our neighbors. And I think that our whole society is on a switch to really wanting to be more hospitable, to open our door and to let people in and let them see the messy parts of our life, that our house isn't going to be perfect, but that that's okay. So I want to encourage all tonight, what are you doing to find community? Is it tonight that you need to do the next right thing for you, which is to find community in a Gather group near you? Or maybe it's that you need to start a Gather group for moms that live near you because you've been poured into, or you have mom friends and community, but you need to share with other people that don't. So during intermission, we are going to have a time for you to stop by and meet moms that live near you. So we have neighborhood groups all over, and we are going to give you a chance to go visit with them, see when they're meeting, what they do, what curriculum they're doing, and kind of start that process. So I want you to get out your little makeup bag that has this little book in it, and there's a little card inside here. This is going to give us instructions on where the different groups are meeting. Okay? Now, these are our active gather groups. These are our groups that are currently meeting in this area. And if there is not one specifically for where you live, then I would encourage you to find the one closest to where you live. And if there isn't one, then I would encourage you to come see me in A106, because I am going to share with you how to start a gather where you live. So I would love for y'all to really pray about, just as you head out to intermission in just a minute, where you're supposed to be. We have some leaders of our gathers that are going to start heading out to get those rooms ready for y'all. And we're going to have plenty of time during intermission to potty and get all the drinks and go to your gather group. So there's going to be plenty of time. But I really want to encourage y'all to seek that out.